I don't know how to feel about the Browns, and I feel like at this point they're just doing everything they can to hold it together until Deshaun Watson is back and is playing. And as I mentioned, he's back and he's practicing. How would you go about getting him ready, but also keeping Jacoby Brissett ready? Like, do you start giving Watson first-team reps now, Chris? What would you do?
Well, I think that, Jacoby still gets the first-team reps. But just say, in a normal practice, all right, if we have a 12-play period, the starting quarterback on a Wednesday, he gets all 12. Every now and then, maybe if it's like a veteran quarterback who's, trying to take a little wear and tear off of his arm, those 12 plays, he might go, well, I'll take 9, and you can let the backup take the last 3, and he can get some reps with the first team, maybe on a Wednesday, a veteran-type quarterback. I think I would approach it kind of that way. Like, hey, we're going to do stuff with you after practice and all of that, and you're going to go through all the individual. Jacoby's going to get the majority of the practice reps, but we're going to throw you in the last few plays of each period just to get you going here a little bit. And then you're going to do scout team as well, just so you can get going there as well and get playing and, get used to the speed of the game. I would go that way. And then as you get to that, they got he's got 2 more weeks before he can play, actually, right? So I would slowly go that way. Yeah, slowly go that way. And then as you get into that, week of the game, you make the switch and he gets every rep.
When he does play,
yeah,
it will be his first regular season game since January 3, 2021.
It's insane.
Final week of the 2020 season, a 41-38 loss to the Titans at home. That was the last time we've seen him. We'll see him back in Houston for that return game. And, somebody was asking me about this yesterday, like how big of a deal is it going to be? I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as we thought, because this is just one game dropped in with the cluster of others that will start at 1 o'clock Eastern on that Sunday in early December, and neither team is a powerhouse. The Texans are an afterthought. They're one of the worst teams record-wise in the NFL, even though, as I continue to say, they're not embarrassing themselves. They're playing everyone tough. They played the Giants within 1 score. They gave the Eagles everything they could handle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off a victory this weekend. But I just think it's not going to be as big of a deal as we would have thought. Everyone's processed it. Everyone's accepted it.
Yeah.
He's serving his suspension, and I'm not defending him. I'm just trying to estimate how big of a deal it's going to be. I just don't think it's going to be nearly as big of a deal as we would have thought back when the suspension was finalized and we all said, oh, crap, his first game back is at Houston.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think everyone has kind of come to terms with it. People are exhausted by it. The fact that they're not very good and not in the conversation, really in the AFC playoff conversation, I think that takes a little sizzle off the story altogether, right? But still something I think we're all going to have our eyes on for sure. And he's going to get booed mercilessly as he goes into in the stadium in Houston. That's for sure as well. But I'm with you, Mike. I mean, it's not going to overtake the NFL like it did, the majority of the offseason. At least it doesn't seem that way.
In the spirit of the looming season, I'm giving you a pass for mercilessly because I just assume you misspoke.
I did.
We all misspeak.
Yeah.
You don't think that's the word. It's mercilessly. That was just a misspeak.
Yeah,
and again,
right.
We all do it. I do it. I've probably done it 5 times today. I'm looking at the schedule for that day that Deshaun comes back.
Right.
The other games include Packers at the Bears, a pretty significant and impactful game. Broncos at the Ravens, which has got storylines with Russell Wilson versus Lamar Jackson. How about the Jets at the Vikings being played at the same damn time as Browns Texans? How about Titans at Eagles being played at the same time as Browns Texans? Commanders Giants being played at the same time. There's 8 games in that window. So I just really think it's going to take a lot for it to stand out and be as significant as we would have thought it would be back at the time. And we also thought the Browns would be better than they are.
Yeah.
They could be 3-8 going into that game.
Yeah. I mean, I think by all due accounts, if you made me bet, I would expect that, right? They got the Bills this week. They got the Bucks the next week after that. So, right, it's not matchups that I look at them being able to win. This week, we'll see. Maybe the weather helps them out a little bit. We do know they have a very good run game. We've seen teams run on Buffalo a little bit here as of late. But, that's, maybe they can make it interesting, but I don't really expect it. I don't expect it.
I think the snow is going to help the Buffalo passing game because, number one, the receivers know where they're going. Right? When it's harder to keep up with a guy when you're chasing him in the snow and you don't know where he's going. And number two, hello, Wyoming, Josh Allen.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter to him.
Missiles through the wind and the snow and the everything out there. That won't be an issue. No,
I agreed. That's where they have an incredible advantage against really just about anybody except for Herbert, Mahomes, right? I mean, it's those guys that are going to be able to. Okay, we got to go up there and play in wind and cold. We can cut it through there with our arm and the way we throw the ball. Joe Burrow, I'd probably put him in that list. I think Lamar could probably cut it through there too. I do. But yeah, you said it. Mahomes and Allen they're impervious to some of those elements. They can just throw it through anything, and that's a great advantage for Buffalo in these type of games.
I just had a flash of a memory, and sometimes at this age, my memories are dead on balls accurate. Other times, it's either wishful thinking or it just never got in the right way. But that Monday night game last year in Buffalo when it was super windy, and Bill Belichick rope-a-doped Sean McDermott into kind of giving up on the passing game until the Bills were running out of chances. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait,
he
Josh
can
Allen
throw
throw in this.
Yes,
we should have been doing this all night.
Exactly right. I mean, that should be the ultimate because that was like one of the windiest games we've seen in the history of the NFL. And, they were getting dominated on the ground, and they finally said, okay, we got to throw it. And he had no problem. I mean, this is a guy that we're talking about as one of the greatest arms in the history of football. It's there in that conversation already. I don't think there's anything they need to worry about anymore. He just got to be careful with the football, and they got to get back to protecting it that way and get a little healthy. But I still think Buffalo is one of the best teams in football. I really do.
Hey, the most important thing, too, and it's kind of good that this snow creates an issue. It makes it easier to hit the reset button and forget about that roller coaster ride that they were on that they ultimately lost. Because I don't know how you get past that. If you're either team, if you won it or if you lost it. I saw Kevin O'Connell. We're going to talk about the Vikings coming up next segment. But Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings coach, actually did more of a walkthrough on Wednesday because his guys are still drained. They got to be physically and emotionally drained.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.